Alrighty guys, welcome back to Fog Racing. We're here to bring you our expert analysis and we're going to give you our 2021 Formula 1 predictions. You might have heard predictions for other channels, but fuck those guys, they don't know what they're talking about. We do.
Literally don't know what they're talking about.
Our predictions are going to be legit. Those guys can't even make official, they can't even make like predictions that are fucking possible. I mean, they may as well have like Ferrari to win the Constructors, but Clerc and Sainz 19th and 20th. I mean, these guys don't even know what they're doing, right? We do. So, with that said, Vettel's pish. Anyone that thinks he's going to go to Racing Point, Aston Martin, whatever, they can call themselves whatever they want. What they won't be calling themselves at the end of the season is world champions, because Vettel is done. He's been done for a number of years, and I'd be surprised if he even beat Stroll. I would be very surprised if he beat Stroll. Some people are saying that Alonso ain't going to score a point. Listen, you could fucking stick Alonso in a wheelie bin and he would manage to get at least 1 point this season, right?
You're damn right.
And, I mean, I've heard the excuses already. Oh, well, Perez and Vettel are a different style of drivers, so it's going to take Vettel a while to... Fuck him, right, fuck him. I mean, he did.
How about we just start from the bottom and then we'll talk about each driver as we go?
Yeah, no, but I don't like Vettel. He did not deserve 4 world titles. The only positive thing I can take from this is he isn't going to get 5.
Yeah.
But he didn't deserve 4.
As you can see though, on screen
and Alonso deserved a lot more. Anyway, let's go.
We have our drivers, we have our constructors. The constructors we'll start with. We both went with the exact same.
I mean, it's pretty hard to get the constructor order wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, we've got Haas. They're going to finish last. Well, they might not finish last, but they've got by far the worst car, and they're not upgrading it, and that literally just says everything.
I think they've got the worst car, and I think they've got the worst driver lineup.
Yep.
So, but I've got nothing personally against Mazepin, so I'll say his name. Doesn't bother me.
Mazepin.
Mazepin,
And Mick Schumacher.
I forgot, people don't like it if you pronounce Borough Rangers wrong, but aye, there you go.
You'll get a cheap pop if you hear, oh, Hamilton on Schumacher, or Alonso on Schumacher. Even though it's
here, see if Alonso's having to battle Schumacher, it's going to be a poor fucking season.
He's not going to finish high up like we predicted.
Unless he's lapping him, like that's the only way it's going to remotely make sense.
We've got Williams. I believe they're the 9th best car, and they're going to finish 9th.
They improved a hell of a lot last season. I thought they did.
Yep.
I mean, they were a lot closer to the pack.
I said this year they've built their car towards a more extreme setup, which will only be good at certain tracks and shit at others, rather than just constantly pish it all.
Well, I think you'd rather that.
So basically, for example, they'll only be good at like a street circuit, but pish everywhere else. I don't know if it is just a street circuit. It could just be certain type of tracks. Next up,
I think Williams will score points this season.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how many, but I think they will score points.
I'd say every team will score points. There's 23 races.
And half the grid score points, like.
Yeah.
It's not like back in the day where it was only top 6 or top 8. When half the grid's scoring points, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Alfa Romeo. They will head this back group. I think they're actually. I'd say they're probably closer to the midfield than they are the back two.
I don't know. I think it could be close between Williams and Alfa Romeo. Although I think Alfa Romeo will be a lot stronger this season because Ferrari will have sorted out their engine. I mean, I think that was the main reason why Alfa Romeo were so bad last year. Just the Ferrari engine. So, with that being improved, well, hopefully be improved this season, I think they'll finish not necessarily higher, but I think they'll be a lot more competitive. And I do expect them to pick up multiple points. Hopefully Kimi can have a better season than he did last season because he wasn't that good. And it'll be interesting to see how Giovinazzi does. So I think they've got a decent driver pairing lineup. You know, they've got experience with Kimi and they've got the youth with Giovinazzi, but honestly, I'm not really convinced in Giovinazzi. I don't know if he's going to be around much longer, but
I don't think he will be.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, the simple reason is Ferrari have got 2 spots up that will be taken for a few years, and everyone else who's in line for that is far too young. Like Schumacher, he'll be there for years. Haas, Alfa, whatever.
Yeah, I just don't see Giovinazzi getting into this.
No, he's not good enough. I'd say he's good enough for F1, but no other team would want him. No.
Yeah.
Like if Latifi's in F1, I mean Giovinazzi's better, you know.
Yeah.
Stroll, he's better. Is he that? Nah, I don't know.
I know, it's harsh. I don't know.
It's hard to rate. Anyway, the end of the midfield, we've got like 4 or 5 teams here that are all very similar pace, but we'll start off with the team we've put in 7th, and that is Aston Martin. I think purely, they may not have the 7th slowest car,
but they've got the fucking They've not got a good driver lineup.
They've got by far the worst driver
if
lineup
Perez is
of the
still,
midfield.
if Perez is still here, I put them higher than 7th.
Yep, but he's
But
not.
He's not, and
Vettel's done.
yeah, I don't think Vettel's going to have a good season.
And Stroll's not good. Stroll will have the odd race where he looks like he's 7-time world champ, but then all the other
But
ones,
more
he
often
looks
than
like
not,
Latifi.
yeah, he'll be trailing behind, you know, and just getting outperformed by his teammate. I don't think he'll get outperformed this season though, because I don't know. But then again, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're slightly harsh on Vettel, but I think people are massively overrating the guy. So I'll
put it this way, right? There's no way they beat Ferrari in the Constructors.
Nah, I don't see them beating
Sainz is
anybody.
better than Stroll, and we know what Leclerc did to Vettel. Regardless of what the difference in speed is. Even if the Aston Martin's
At
like
best-
four times quicker on it.
Best, I think there's only one team. I think I could only move Aston Martin up one team. At one
AlphaTauri.
place, aye.
And that's who we go to next. I think how good they look in pre-season testing just shows how good the Red Bull is.
Yeah, the fact that Red Bull look phenomenal, I think AlphaTauri will have a pretty good car this season, but it's kind of unknown with this Shunada guy. I just don't really know.
See, a lot of people are talking about that these ones could finish third. They could finish third if the Red Bulls like Mercedes level of dominance, and because they've took a lot of parts for that. But I don't know. Gasly's good, but
I think putting them in at 6th is like a safe kind of. You know,
not the lowest of the midfield, but not going to beat the likes of the other three.
Yeah.
And next up, we've got Alpine, Alonso and Ocon. I think Alonso's going to carry Alpine. I think.
I refuse to believe Alpine are going to finish much lower than this just for simply having Alonso.
I'd say on pace, Alpine's probably the slowest in the midfield teams. But Alonso's Alonso.
Look at what he did with McLaren.
And they were awful.
And the car had no right to getting points in those races. He's finishing like 5th and shit. I mean, you look at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I mean, how he came back and finished that. I mean, that was a phenomenal drive. I think even Alonso said that might be the best drive of his career.
Yep.
You know, and I don't think Alpine's going to be slower than the McLaren was. I think that's going to be a lot more competitive. It's not going to fucking lack about 250 less horsepower than the other teams.
You
so
can make up stuff through the corners of driver, but down the straight you can't.
yeah, but I don't think Alonso needs to with this Alpine. So
Yeah, exactly so. And it shows good reliability, unlike the Honda. Anyway, next up we've got Ferrari in at 4th. That'll be a major improvement on their, what, was it 6th last season?
yeah, it was a season to forget. A very strong driver lineup. Very strong driver lineup. If the car's better than we think it is, then they could easily finish 3rd.
I think you look at Alfa and how much they were better in testing. I think Ferrari will be, I think that just proves that Ferrari will be good. And you've got Leclerc, who like the laps he was pulling out last year, and a shit Ferrari.
Oh yeah, some of the drives Leclerc did last year were phenomenal, and depending on how good Ferrari are, I think they've got a far better driver. I think they're superior to the McLaren. I mean, I take Leclerc over Ricardo any day of the week, and Sainz has already proven over a couple of seasons that he's got the number of Norris. So
Yep.
if the Ferrari car is anywhere near as good as the McLaren, then I do think they could finish 3rd. But the McLaren does look very strong, and for that reason, I'm only going to put Ferrari 4th.
And
But
next
if
up,
the car delivers, then maybe 3rd.
yes, next up we've got McLaren coming in at 3. A lot of people saying they're actually looking better than Merc. People are saying
It'd be great. I would love
It's going
to
to be a top 3 instead of a top 2.
I hope it is. I just don't see it.
No.
I don't know if people are looking at. I don't care what Mercedes done in practice and testing. Come race weekend, I just expect them to be up there.
Yeah.
Mercedes could have been 19th and 20th, 25 seconds off the pace, and I would just expect them to be there.
See, come
start of the
qualifying, you're just going to see Hamilton, purple sector, purple sector, purple sector.
Don't know if
Good
you'll see
night.
it for Bottas, but you'll see
No.
it for Hamilton. So
Yep. Next up, though, we've got Mercedes. That's who we've put in second. So they will not be winning the Constructors' Championship this year.
main reason is, for me, Red Bull seem to be as close to Mercedes as they've ever been
And
since
they've
the
got their
Mercedes
best
dominance,
partnership.
and
since-
they've got their best partnership. I would say it's their best partnership ever, because I think Max going into 2021 is better than he's ever been.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Max is going to be better now than he was when Danny Ricciardo was his partner, and I wouldn't. People would say Danny Ricciardo's better than Perez. I don't think
And I
there's
know
much
a
in
lot
it.
of people are missing out here on Mercedes as well. Look at Bottas in a dominant Mercedes. Nothing special.
Yeah.
So if a Mercedes is playing second fiddle, he's not going to be
Yeah,
good.
you look at Bottas last season, and
No, I do argue.
he didn't have much over Max Verstappen, and the Mercedes is dominant. So if the Red Bull's close to the Mercedes, there's no way Bottas beats Max or gets anywhere close.
Yes. And I would argue, though, it's Bottas' best chance if it is a more competitive field because he's not being Hamilton one-on-one.
Yeah, because if you're taking Hamilton one-on-one, more often than not, he's going to finish ahead of you first and second. That's 7 points every race.
50-50 chance of winning.
But, you know, if Max is up there always getting wins, if Bottas is getting beat by Hamilton and he's coming third to Hamilton second, that's only 3 points.
Yep.
So, you know, obviously, it's gonna make a big difference.
And then retirements, if Hamilton gets shit luck, which he never does.
See, that's the one thing that really annoyed me about the Nico Rosberg Hamilton battle. Never really had any. It was always like a straight one-on-one battle. It would have been nice to have.
I know. But it's the way the cookie crumbled. But anyway, that is it for the constructors. Let's dive in to the drivers, and we'll talk about the bottom 6, which is just the bottom 3 teams. We both went with Kimi to win that. You've went with Gio to beat Russell. I've went with Russell to beat Gio, and then we've went with Latifi, Mick, and Mazepin as the final 3. Any thoughts on that? I just feel like Kimi's the best at the. Well, I'd probably say Russell's better than Kimi, but Kimi's in a better car, and he always seemed to get points when the car's good. Kimi last season was actually great, I'd say, considering he was beating Vettel regularly.
True.
So
yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, there's only one place we disagree on, but I wouldn't be shocked if Giovinazzi beats Russell or Russell beats.
See this slow down. It's more luck than actual.
Yeah.
I mean, Latifi could beat Russell. It doesn't mean he's better.
I mean, Giovinazzi could finish ahead of Russell in, say, 20 of the 23 races. But if the 3 races where Russell finishes ahead of Giovinazzi, has a shitload of retirements, then he'll end up scoring more points. So this far down the field, it is a bit luck does come into it.
Yep.
And I mean, for that reason, I guess it is hard to predict here for that reason alone. Sure, was it in 2001? That Marquez guy finished ahead of Alonso. You know, Alonso was beating him by 2 seconds in qualifying.
Joke.
But the one race where there was a shitload of retirements, that Marquez happened to finish and Alonso didn't. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think the bottom 6, I think it's pretty much going to be the way we said it.
It's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Next up, though, in 14th place, I've went with Stroll. You've went with Yuki Tsunoda.
I just don't know enough about the guy to put him any higher, like, you know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Then in 13th, we both went with Esteban Ocon. I think that's about right. Like I said, Alpine, I think, are the slowest midfield team, and I just don't think.
To me, Ocon's just a consistent driver, but nothing.
He didn't do anything special last year in the Renault. Alright, yeah, he got a podium at the end, but I mean, that was just fucking
Kind of luck there.
Mercedes. Didn't even know what tyres were.
I mean, I don't even rate down Ricardo that bad, but Ricardo did kind of like outperform him massively.
Yeah.
So
I'll be shocked that Ricardo does the Norris what he did the Ocon, like.
yeah.
It's just my opinion. In at 12th, though, I've went with Yuki Tsunoda. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like he seemed a lot better in testing than I thought he would be. I know testing's only testing, but there you go. You've went with Sebastian Vettel, who I've put in 11th, and you've put Stroll in 11th. So you've put Stroll to beat Vettel, and I've put Vettel top of that wee jobber bunch.
I think Stroll will beat Vettel. Stroll's been that Aston Martin now for what, 3-4 seasons.
Yeah,
Vettel going to a new team.
I've put Vettel to beat him, but
It's going to be another year decline for Vettel. I mean,
I'm not going to be shocked if Vettel beats him, or the other way.
no, I'm not going to be shocked here. But Vettel's went to Aston Martin, I think, expecting it to be competitive, and I think that Stroll will do better in a lesser competitive car than Vettel will.
I'm expecting a few spins for Sebastian.
I mean, Vettel in a competitive car has done, you know what I mean, in history, like, has done well, but you stick him in a car that's not as competitive, and he just doesn't have the fight. I don't think so. I'm going with Stroll.
Out the window, out the door. Well, that's what you've went with. Into the top 10. We'll do up to 5th place here. You've went with Sainz, 10th. I've went with Gasly. We'll do up to 9th actually. I've went with Gasly. coming at 10th. You've did Gasly at 9th. I've did Sainz at 9th. I mean, our predictions were more or less just a flip of the coin. Could end either way, really, at this stage. What do you make of that?
It could end either way. I mean, I actually did change my prediction to put in Sainz at 9th and Gasly at 10th, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world here.
When did you do that?
I did make a late prediction there, as you can see. The arrow is changing them a bit, but hey,
we did even more the same there. Oh.
It's not a big deal. I mean,
no, it's not a big deal. Wouldn't change the constructors.
I mean, 9th or 10th, who really cares? I mean, no one's going to cry over finishing 9th.
Next
or
up,
10th,
though,
you know.
we've also, the next couple we've actually flipped around. You've went with Alonso 8th, Norris 7th. Well, I've did it Alonso 7th, Norris 8th. I just feel like, I think the McLaren will be a lot better than the Alpine, but Alonso's Alonso.
No, he is, but depending on how much better the McLaren is, I think that might just give Norris the slight advantage to get, that higher finish. So that's why I went with Norris, but again, could easily switch them.
Yep, next up though, we've got Clerc and Ricardo. You've went 5th for Ricardo, 6th for Clerc, and I've did 5th for Clerc, and 6th for Ricardo. Again,
no doubt in my mind, Leclerc's better than Ricardo. Now, I think a lot of people seem to think Ricardo's the best driver on the grid. I've never seen that. I mean, I've never. To me, he's kind of like more consistent than he is outright,
Yeah, and he's good at overtaking. We'll go Matt.
Yeah,
I would say Leclerc is the fastest man over one lap. I don't like what he did in that Ferrari, like with an engine that's pish.
See, I don't think people rate Leclerc as much as they do Max, and to me, there's fucking literally nothing in it.
Look at what he was doing in that. Ferrari last year. You saw him drop back in the races, but you can't do it you can't do what he was doing on one lap over 50 odd laps. And I just feel like with a much better engine, when he does get that high up in qualifying,
he'll be able to retain his position.
Yes, he won't go backwards.
Whereas he won't be getting fucking overtaken on straights, like there's nothing there.
Exactly. Anyway though, top 4 time. We've both went with Bottas 4th. He's the worst driver at the 4. And if Mercedes are 2nd, I could see. It depends how close the rest of the field are, but Bottas could very easily slip into the midfield.
Well, I mean, if it's a
look at Italy last year, guy's arse collapsed and he just got swamped.
That was an embarrassing fucking.
And there was numerous other races like that.
Bottas should have won that. I
know.
See if Hamilton was in Bottas' position for that race, but Hamilton would have won that.
I know.
When you look at Hamilton had that big, massive, major, pit stop, the penalty, and he still fought back to get.
It was right up his ass at the end.
I mean, was it 8th he got?
7 for 8, 5.
You know what I mean? Like, all these overtakes, yet Bottas actually went backwards. I mean, come on.
The same way Albon.
The Mercedes can't follow cars. Well, it's funny that Hamilton can overtake. I mean, so Hamilton's Mercedes can follow, but Bottas's can't.
Good. And in that Turkish race, he must have spun about 12 times.
Oh,
I'm not even joking. It was every lap.
That was awful.
He hit Ocon twice in the one lap. How do you even do that?
It's weird how. I mean, I guess by that stage he'd already signed his contract, but I don't know. I do think over the season though, I think that's twice now. I think where Bottas has actually had decent starts, and then when he signs his contract, they just. Do you think there's anything in that? No, it's like as soon as he signs his contract.
But I think this is the last year he's going to be at Mercedes. I don't see him. Why retain him?
Do you think if they hadn't signed his contract yet and they're waiting to the end of the season, and then they seen what Russell done in Bahrain, do you think he wouldn't have got it?
Well, I think the fact the regulations are much the same, bar just a few things at the back. I think next season you cannot go with Bottas. You do not know what the running order is going to be like next year.
Well,
the grid could flip on its head.
I'm saying, do you think if they hadn't signed him up and then they seen that Bahrain race, do you think they'd have went with Russell?
Probably, I think they would have. Well, just look how good Russell was in one race.
Can Bottas do anything this year to save his seat?
Beat Hamilton.
Well, that goes without saying. Do you think if he beats Hamilton or wins the title,
Yes. Well, obviously, yeah. I think
what if he doesn't but finishes he takes it into the last race decider against Hamilton?
Maybe. But then how long are you going to keep Russell in the B team?
And then there's maybe
Hamilton's going to be gone.
But maybe there's a chance Russell could go somewhere else.
Damn right.
And Mercedes don't get him. I mean, I don't know. Well, realistically, what top seats are going to be available soon?
Hamilton and Bottas. Hamilton's only got a 1 year deal.
Maybe there's nowhere else then for Russell to go.
Potentially. Next up, though, Sergio Perez in at the podium position in 3rd place. Mr. Consistent, and therefore I think that's why he will beat Bottas.
Perez is just he's gonna show this year how bad Albon was. He really is.
Yeah.
I think the guy's gonna get double figure podiums.
Because, see, no matter what, the guy's finishing 4th.
Yeah. Unless this McLaren's is fucking, amazing, as people are saying, but I think Perez is going to be finishing 4th, and I'd say at the top, the drivers in the top 2 teams, he makes the less mistakes. He's Mr. Consistent.
Yep.
Plus, he is extremely good on his tyres,
which will help Red Bull on strategy.
Yeah,
big time.
You can see him going longer. And you could even see races where I think you'll even maybe get races where Perez is winning by doing like 1 stop less.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he's actually
saving his tyres for another attack.
He's actually going to be in a position come the first stint where he can affect things at the front, or maybe even leading. It was embarrassing with Albon. Like, I mean, most races, by the time they got to the first round of pit stops, Albon's literally like 40 seconds behind. What can you do with that?
I know.
So now Red Bull are going to. I think Red Bull are going to have a very good season. Well, obviously I picked them to win the Constructors, but yeah.
Yes, next up we have Lewis Hamilton. He's no winning the 8th world title. He will come in here at 2nd. I just feel like it's Red Bull's year.
Same. I think Max is improving every year, and I think with the Red Bull improving, this is going to be.
You know what? See if Red Bull's by far the fastest car and the Mercedes is pish and Hamilton still turns it to win the title.
I will say he's the greatest driver of all time. If he can do that, then that's...
Yes. But
I don't think he will. So.
I just feel like with the shoes on the other foot, he's not going to win the title.
No.
Because I just feel like Max is at his level or past it.
Yep.
But anyway, that's it. Till the Bahrain Grand Prix predictions.
You're not going to say anything about Max? The guy that we predicted to.
Oh, yeah. Max is the man. He's winning it.
It's only a matter of time before he wins the world title, so it may as well be this season. Why not? Why prolong it anymore?
Put it this way, guys. See the fact he's that young. I know he hasn't won one yet, but I think he could beat Hamilton's record. Like, if
Red Bull gets dominant,
he's going to be in it for at least another 18.
Well, you look at Vettel. How Vettel won 4 titles in a row with Red Bull. I mean,
exactly. If
fucking Max can get a Red Bull like that, I mean, he'll win it no bother. Like, as good as Alonso's drives were, right, especially in 2012, I think if Max is in that Red Bull, Alonso doesn't get into the last day. Like,
no.
So
that's the bottom line. But Max is winning, guys. He's going to be the first ever Dutch world champion.
In an ideal world, wouldn't you just love the Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull to all be around the same pace, and you've got a top 3 for the fight, a freeway title fight, Leclerc, Max and Hamilton?
Well, I'd prefer a 2012 season where every car's on the pace.
True, but I mean,
well, bar the bottom 3, which and Toro Rosso and Schumacher, who just decided to help Vettel. Shots fired. Anyway though, tell Bahrain preview.
Peace.